Immigrants, including illegal immigrants, commit crimes serious enough for them to be incarcerated at half the rate of U.S.-born Americans.
For the congressman to keep saying they commit less crime than Americans, who cares?
I was going to say, Representative Luna said that she is going to refer this matter and you mayors to the feds for investigation. What are your concerns, if any, about the possibility of charges being brought against you and the other mayors?
Well, I mean, if that happens, our legal team, our corporate counsel will review those documents.
And we are back, y'all. Thank you for watching. Go ahead and hit that like button, people. You know it helps us out a ton, and it only costs you, what, just a flick of the finger? So you know it's a good investment. Appreciate it, y'all. Now check this out. What I'm going to do today, y'all, is I'm going to bring you one of the key topics that always comes up as it relates to the undocumented migrants, okay? The key topic that comes up, or one of the main topics, is that of crime, okay? So on one side, you have people who support and who are in favor of the migrants saying, look, they don't really cause very much crime. If anything, they cause less crime than Americans. And then on the other side, you have people who are saying, even if they only cause one crime per million, if you bring them in, that's one crime more than we would have otherwise had if they weren't here. So these are the two sides, and I'm going to let you see them kind of battle it out here in their interviews and testimony from yesterday. And then at the end, y'all, we're going to go back to your boy Brandon Johnson, the Chicago mayor. Y'all, criminal charges are on the table for these mayors at this point, okay? One of the Congress people yesterday referred all four mayors to the Department of Justice for criminal charges. So you're going to see Brandon Johnson talk about that and also give an account for himself and how he feels he did at yesterday's hearings. So y'all, I definitely want to appreciate y'all for watching again. Stop everything, if you will. You already know this video is going to be a banger. So let's share it out to somebody. Hit the share button, put in somebody's email, text message, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever. Just send it to somebody. And also, if you're not a subscriber already, please do subscribe. I want to thank y'all for watching. I thank y'all for riding with me. Love y'all, and let's go ahead and get into it.
Immigrant support budget has dropped by nearly 90%. And in the midst of this, migrants did not bring a wave of crime to Denver. In fact, crime went down. Homicides dropped 17%, shooting victims dropped 24%, auto theft down 29%. America is not just a place, it's a belief.
Our efforts to improve public safety by building trust with and investing in our communities are working. Violent crime is down in Chicago. The city ended 2024 with its lowest homicide rate in 5 years. The city is also safer because of our Welcoming City Ordinance. That law makes sure that the city's police resources are focused on our local priorities. In fact, the 40 years of Chicago's leaders have recognized that our policies toward civil immigration matters help to prevent and solve crimes. Put simply, any actions that amplify fears of deportations make Chicago more dangerous.
Indiscriminate mass deportation agenda is a far greater threat to public safety than any city policy. A mountain of empirical research shows that reasonable restrictions on ICE cooperation do not increase crime rates, and that immigrants lower crime rates. Immigrants, including illegal immigrants, commit crimes serious enough for them to be incarcerated at half the rate of U.S.-born Americans. Data from Texas shows that illegal immigrants are 36% less likely to commit and be convicted of murder. At least before this current mass deportation effort, immigrants were more likely to report crimes than U.S.-born Americans. Don't jeopardize that.
For the congressman to keep saying they commit less crime than Americans, who cares? Every crime committed by an illegal alien, every child raped by an illegal alien, every public safety threat by an illegal alien could have been prevented because they're not supposed to be here. It doesn't matter who does more. These are preventable crimes if we secure the border. And the border is more secure now than it ever has been because I'm working with the greatest president in my lifetime who has illegal immigration down 97%. He did that in 3 weeks. President Biden could have done it. He couldn't do it in 4 years.
Oh,
what
yeah.
President done it in 3 weeks. We got a safer border. Because we got a safer border, 97% less people are coming. Means less women are being raped. Less children are drowning in the river. Less Americans dying from fentanyl overdoses. Less sex trafficking, women and children. President Trump's saving lives, and they can't stand it because it's a political difference. It's not a realistic difference. It's about saving lives. That's what this country's about. Support law enforcement. Why is law enforcement all of a sudden, Tom Homan, we're the bad guys who we enforce the law, but the ones who break the law, the ones that rape children, they're the victims? Give me a break. And you know what? I'll wear this as a badge of honor. If I get and live in their heads rent-free every day, that's kind of cool, and I'm loving it. And I'm coming.
Well, Tom, everyone has to know, this is how you relax. Like, this is this is your most relaxed, okay? Well, right now at this moment, because you're doing your job. You're a man on a mission. Tom, as always, thank you.
Came out, and even though there weren't the fireworks that we might have expected, he does say federal funding is at risk if the mayors continue to obstruct. So you still have a problem here, don't you?
This is about safety, right? This is what they brought
This
up.
is about cutting federal funding or more.
Well, that
being
is,
punished.
but respectfully, that is safety. If you cut services from people, that does affect community safety. What we've asked this body to do is to join in the work that I'm doing in the city of
But
Chicago.
they're not going to
Are
do
you
it.
going to
That's
give me?
the
Are you
message.
going to give me a chance to finish my response, though? Okay.
Sorry.
All right. It's okay. What I've said was that it's incumbent upon this body to support the efforts that I have put forth in the city of Chicago to drive violence down. Now, look, we have representation that's here in Washington. We're going to continue to make sure that our representation shows up for the people of Chicago. Here's my last point. The residents of Chicago, we send billions of tax dollars to Washington, D.C. It's incumbent upon D.C. to actually pay the residents of the city of Chicago their fair share. Go ahead, Greg.
I was going to say, Representative Luda said that she's going to refer this matter and you mayors to the feds for investigation. What are your concerns, if any, about the possibility of charges being brought against you and the other mayors?
Well, I mean, if that happens, our legal team, our corporate counsel will review those documents and proceed accordingly. But again, our focus is making sure that the people of Chicago are safe. Marianne?
It seemed as if at times there were personal attacks. Overall, you didn't lose your cool. Do you feel as if you walk out of here like, okay, I came what I was expected to do?
Well, as I said, thank you for the question. I'm always going to be who I am. The people of Chicago elected a husband, a father, a middle school teacher, someone who comes out of the working class to represent our values. And, I'm not going to shy or cower simply because people don't believe in investing in young people, investing in mental health, investing in housing, driving violent crime down in the city of Chicago. So I promised that I would come here and represent working people, and that's exactly what I did.
How do you feel you did, and how did you prepare?
Well, look, it's a lot easier to speak to the values of our city when you believe in them, right? And so, I will say this. Being a middle school teacher in the Chicago Public Schools certainly prepares you for this committee.
Mayor, did you learn anything new from your experience today in this hearing?
Well, I mean, look, there are a lot of people in this country who want Washington to actually invest in people. To hear congressional leaders from all over the country express a desire to invest in the people of this country, that was encouraging to hear. I mean, it's what I've been doing as mayor, and I'll continue to do that.
You seem to receive some of the most personal attacks out of any other of the mayors sitting there. Why do you think that is, and was it not tempting to kind of respond to those directly head on?
Well, look, I represent the greatest freaking city in the world. I mean, the city of Chicago is beautiful, and I wake up every single day working hard to make sure that people of Chicago are safe. And we have a lot of work to do. No one's going to disagree with that. But we are headed in the right direction. Violent crime continues to go down. I don't take this stuff personal. I was elected to represent the people of Chicago, and that's what I do.
Mayor Johnson, last month President Trump said that him and his administration are looking into deporting American citizens who commit crimes to foreign prisons in places like El Salvador. What is your message to Black Chicagoans who are concerned that Trump's immigration policies may be a slippery slope for Black Americans?
Well, it's one thing for sure that Black folks in Chicago certainly understand why we have to have constitutional policing and real oversight over policing. You know, I've referenced James Montgomery, the first black corporate counsel, and he was the one that recommended to the first black mayor of Chicago why we cannot allow local law enforcement to deviate from local responsibilities. Anytime you have law enforcement that's running amok, we have seen over the course of decades of how that type of lack of trust and lack of accountability has harmed black people. That's why I'm proud that the first black mayor and the first black corporate counsel, now me as a black man, the first black woman corporate counsel, we ride in that history of understanding why black folks have to have leadership that puts checks and balances within law enforcement, because without that, we have certainly seen the detrimental harm that causes to our people.
Are you with that 1%? Why couldn't you put a specific number on that? And is that just asylum seekers? Are they conflating undocumented residents?
Well, that's a good question. That's why I was very specific about those who were seeking asylum, right? Because unfortunately, there was a lack of understanding by the Republican Party around what we experienced as a city of Chicago. And it wasn't so much I wasn't willing to give the specific number. What I was working to point out is that the state of Texas spent roughly $221 million to bus migrants, asylum seekers across this country, which essentially was 1% of their overall budget. Now, over the last 3 years, the city of Chicago has spent less than $300 million. We have spent 20 times the amount with new investments on Black Chicago. Here's what I hope that comes out of this. I need you all's help to engage and inform Black Chicago in particular of all the investments that I've made. It's so critical for the people who have been disinvested in for decades to not know that we have spent 20 times the amount with new investments just for West and Southsiders, building homes, hiring young people, making sure that we're providing behavioral mental health services and driving crime down. Remember, when I ran for office, many folks believed that my vision for Chicago would make it less safe. Well, we have proven the people who did not believe in leadership like mine, we've proven them wrong. Not only is crime down, but investments are up. Thank you all very much.
Thanks to Chicago City Council.